let's have a look at the story. We're not actually going in depth into this, like I've said. In fact, we're not even playing the story, because the story is Kiwi families to get up to $75 back a week. And look, the media is still a little bit, even though they did show the numbers in this story, fair enough, credit where credit's due. See if I can scroll along the bottom and find it without actually going back to it. They did show how the numbers would be, but it is up to. So it's not $75 a week. And one of the problems is, remember, the government we've got in now has been talking about bureaucracy, has been talking about layers of bureaucracy, has been talking about, cutting red tape, making things easier, not making things more difficult. We want people to be able to thrive and have no extra hurdles to get over. It seems that the biggest thing about this is how difficult it's going to be to actually get. So
it's not simple.
No, it's not simple. And we're not even playing the story, because all I want to play for you is the end of the story where Mikey explains it. The story is the story. Up to $75 a week, gives the numbers, yada, yada, yada. Labor says bad, National says good, yada, yada, yada. That's the story. And then Mikey comes back and gives us the information. And congratulations to Mikey on her new political position.
Yeah, that was great news.
Yeah, good news. And she gives us the lowdown on how to actually do this. Remember, we're not looking at the story tonight, but this is tonight's news. So let's just have a quick squiz at what this government considers to be less red tape and easier.
We'll bring in Mikey from Parliament. Kia ora, Mikey. Will there be difficulties with this payment?
Kia ora rā tātou I tēnei pō. Well, look, while the government will be celebrating today's announcement and families up and down the country will welcome any ounce of extra support, this policy, it will be a logistical nightmare, a red tape rigmarole. The National Party originally wanted the IRD to pay families direct every fortnight.
So that sounds easy, yeah? IRD sorted out, kind of like working for families. Just figure it out, guys.
But when it came into office, it was told by the IRD that was simply not possible because it did not have the system capability, and it would take 2 to 3 years to get that system up and running.
So can we just ask this question as well, right? The government often criticises the other side, whichever government it is, whichever other side it is, about not having their due diligence done, not crossing the T's and dotting the I's, making promises before the election how this would work, without checking how this would work. Screams of incompetence, Paul.
That was my first thought when I heard about how they had to change it and why they had to change it. It was, why would you not look into that sort of thing before you put this plan together, instead of just going up to $75 every fortnight? It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, and not just that, it gets worse as to how people are going to get this money. Have a listen.
So now the onus, the responsibility, it falls back onto parents. They will need to gather 3 months worth of invoices from their early childhood centres. They will then need to file those invoices with the IRD. And Nicola Willis has been told that some families simply will not take up the option of this payment because of that administrative challenge. So that will need to be a big focus area of the government if they want people to make the most of this money. In terms of the money, the cost of this policy is set to be around $723 million over the next 4 years. That is around $244 million less than what National predicted it would be on the campaign trail. Now, on the one hand, you could say, that's nice that the policy will cost less. But on the other hand, some may say, they wonder whether National's numbers were in fact rock solid.
And also the other thing is, or else, what has happened between the promise and the implementation that they've actually left out? So what is not there? And remember what this is National's version of 20 hours of free childcare. Labor does it, or the left does it, and they basically make it a cover-all, one size fits all, everyone slots in there, nice and easy. National comes in, tells us they're going to cut red tape, makes it difficult. I mean, it sounds like you're going for a bank loan. I need to see 3 slips of this and that, and then you might get up to $75 a week back.
It's like if you do your own GST returns through the IRD website, it's complicated and it's messy, and you've got to have all the paperwork that you've had for months on end. And how many people with young kids are going to be keeping very nicely tidy, organized paperwork, all their invoices from ECE, just to make sure that they can get this rebate and have the time to sit down and do it? It just feels like they're piling more work on so that people are discouraged from doing it. Yeah,
and I mean, there's that's well, it's not a what is it? A pessimistic view. That's a pessimistic view on it. But but yeah, fair comment. It's like, is it now been done on purpose so people won't get it? Because remember what we've been saying, every single solution that the national government seems to be putting out at the moment is for one reason, right? The problem they're trying to solve is not enough money for tax cuts. So maybe Maybe the extra red tape for them is we can find another couple of $100 million out of this. Maybe.
I think it's a really important thing that people remember that tax cut as well as their driving force. Every claim they make, you have to take it back to that now.
Yep. And they haven't. So remember, this government, the previous government, was not necessarily living outside its means. And what I've seen no one ask any of our leaders yet, what I haven't seen anybody ask them, so we're cutting all these public servants, right? There's two things we haven't seen them ask. And I've been having this conversation online over the weekend. The first is, where is your evidence that the number of public servants there are right now is too many? It's all well and good to say it's gone up 16,000 people, but let's just say hypothetically it was undermanned by 20,000 people. Then the extra 16,000 wouldn't be too many. We've seen no evidence that the new layer of public servants, is too many. We haven't seen that. We've heard numbers.
I'd be interested to know as well if that increase in public servants matches the increase in population. Is it a justified increase because it's in relation to the population increases that we've had over that time frame as well?
Yeah. I've done those numbers once, and it doesn't quite match it, but it certainly doesn't. It's disproportionate to say just 16,000 because there has been an increase in numbers. It hasn't been to the same level, so we haven't heard that, or we haven't seen that at all. And the other thing I haven't seen the government asked is, if you weren't just plainly and bluntly, you're saying we can't live beyond our means. If we didn't give the tax cuts, would we still be living within the income that was coming in? As simple as that. So stop saying we can't live beyond our means, because living beyond our means is including you shelling back $3 billion. If you didn't shell back that $3 billion, would we then be within our means? Because then what you're saying is it's a trade-off. Let's be honest about that.